Hello everybody, and The Brilliant Healer episode 6 has finally dropped. And let me just say, everything I said in the last episode literally happened, beat for beat. I knew it was connected. I think it was kind of obvious, honestly. We all knew that the guide was behind it, and I had guessed that the golem was Aston. Look at me, getting obvious things right. I'm so cool. Come on and hear my my thoughts of this episode, because that's what this video is. Also, did you guys know that only 6% of you guys are subscribed? Seriously, if you guys like this content and want to see more of it, please do show me some love and subscribe to the channel. I would love to see more of you guys around, and I am looking forward to seeing my numbers grow. So, support me in any way you can. I appreciate it. So we finally met the guide, this guy who's been teased since last episode. He exists. He has no face, because why would we want to know what he looks like other than his clothes? Which his clothes are pretty neat. I like the necklace and then the hood that has like the straps on the bottom. Very interesting character design. And he gives Aston this rock, special rock, magic star, magic core, actually. And essentially, that turns Aston into the golem. And this smile, you know this guy is up to something evil whenever he pulls this smile out. Not that we didn't already know, because we kind of figured out what he was doing from just basic character dialogue. But anytime someone pulls out this smile, they're planning something devious. You could see it from everything from Konosuba to, like, the Red Ranger anime. Like, everything has this smile in it, and they're always plotting something nefarious. Sometimes it's protagonists, sometimes it's antagonists. This time it's definitely an antagonist. But, of course, the golem is still destroying the city. So we get Lo and Lo, Zofia, and Linga. Yes, that's all their names. They're each showing up. And of course, Carmilla and Xenos were also already here. So these three girls are obviously capable of taking out this monster with Xenos' help. But when Xenos starts to realize, hey, this is my old buddy Aston, well, I can't have other people kill him, can I? This is a person who owes me. So I'm going to make sure that I get the most out of this situation, even if it's going to be exhausting. So essentially, now that he knows that this guy and this guy are the same guy, and it's both Aston, his old buddy who betrayed him and gave him a gold coin for making them the best party in the world, he jumps into action, quite literally, slices the guy up. And I figured at this scene right here, it was over. He says, "But today I will never have to see your face again." It's all like, oh. Well, maybe he's going to save him. No, he just slices right through his chest. Okay, see that blood splatter? This is where I paused to take this screenshot. I paused to take this screenshot and I was like, oh! I thought this guy was more capitalistic than that. I thought he was good enough to, like, say, I'm going to exploit you for your labor for the rest of your life, not slice through your stomach and kill you. And as soon as I saw this, I was all like, oh, I'm never going to see you again. Slices through. I was all like, okay, that's the end of this fight. It wasn't the end of the fight. He goes in and he heals him, and eventually he's sitting there like, oh, well, I healed you. I cut off all the pieces that were transmuted with this magic core. And, of course, I did all of that for, like, 4 different reasons. He says, like, 2 or 3, but he gives so many different reasons. But the most important reason is to steal all of his money and stuff, just like I thought he would at the beginning of the episode, whenever it confirmed that these two were the same. The golem and Aston. So we essentially get this scene where he's explaining all the things that he's going to need from Aston. And finally, the most important thing is to deck him so hard that the color fades from the scene. He basically says, I'm not letting you get away with just an apology. And like his fist starts glowing and he's like, this is going to be 10 times more powerful than like the average human punch. And he basically punches all of his clothes off. And then we get this nice scene where he's basically saying, I'm so exhausted. All of you are so exhausted. Then the three boss girls, Linga, Zofia, and Lo, basically help carry him home. And we get this scene where Aston and the nice night lady with guns decides that they're going to have a chat. And she basically says, I'm going to charge you with more stuff than could possibly be listed off in one episode. And then on top of that, public indecency, because he is a little more naked than what I probably could show on YouTube. So my head's going to be right here for at least a little bit. Anyway, so she takes him in, and finally, at the end of the episode, we get to see them enjoying a little bit of tea. And that's how the episode ends off. Everybody gets to go to Xenos' office and enjoy just a little bit of tea. Oh, that episode was exactly what I expected, but I'm glad that I got to watch it, because something that these shows that don't have extremely complex plots do is they allow you to feel smart about yourself. So that's what I'm feeling right now, is I feel like I am a anime producer, basically. I'm like, oh yes, I am intelligent enough and I could make a plot that is good enough to air before thousands of people, and that's all good. That's great. I love doing it. At the same time, I do think that not only could this show use better animation and a more developed storyline, I think it generally has the characters it needs. It's just not using the characters properly. So everyone knows that, you know, these characters are very common in shows. I think like half of these characters are very related to kinds of characters you would find in like Konosuba or other like hugely popular shows. I could even go so far as to say that some of these characters I could see being in Mushoku Tensei. Like, one of them is like the Salamander Girl. She was like an elf, and she could totally fit into the world of Mushoku Tensei. She's just a woman with knives, and she has this tomboy flair to her, and she's kind of like a punk. She could totally be in the Magic Academy and be like a background character. 100%. She could even make some appearances at like some point as like a minor character. And if Mushoku Tensei really leaned into it, she could even be a main character. I'm not even joking. The show has the characters it needs, but I don't think it's using them properly. I'm going to keep talking about Zofia just because she's the one I've latched onto here, and definitely not because she's a delinquent at all. That's just a coincidence. Jeff's coincidence. She happens to be my favorite character, but even Carmilla is, to me, almost like Darkness in the show from Konosuba. She laughs at stuff. She's kind of inappropriate. She has this tsundere personality. The only real difference is she's not as much of a pervert, which, in my opinion, could be used in a very good way, because a lot of the problems I have with Darkness is that she's just a little bit too much of a pervert, but at the same time, the show knows when to separate her perverted side and her non-perverted side. For instance, whenever Darkness is being thought about being married off to a noble, the show knows not to use that and say like she's being a pervert about being adopted by a noble, even though it's like exactly what she kind of dreams about. The show is smart enough not to push her that way. But this show, it's questionable. I just don't think the show is using the characters and the plot points, and it's rushing a lot of the events that are happening within the story. I think more world building, a little bit slower pace, and just let us explore the lives of these people who live in the slums. I think that those three things alone would boost this show a whole lot. And with that budget, you could save up, because these scenes where you're exploring the slums, you don't have to have brilliantly animated. You could use that to save for the budget, so then you could have better fight scenes, instead of like 7 frames where the sword goes through the chest of the monster, or the leg, or whatever. Instead of those 7 frames, it could be led up into a lead-up animation, like we did with this punch. I don't know why the animation got so good for this joke punch. Like, we needed that animation here. Or here. Or here. These animation wasn't bad, but it was all too fast. It was like this character doesn't have any, wind up, any, like, extremely, like, when he's jumping, it should have went to and panned to his feet, and you should have seen like the ripples in his boots when he jumps off the ground. I liked this scene because the way they pulled the sword back. This is probably the best part. His giant scalpel, I should say. He knew he had to pull it back so then he could swing hard enough to get through the rock. And, of course, here, it was a simple slice because it was no longer the rock he was cutting through. Until we learn that he's actually cutting through the magic core, which I imagine not easy to do, but okay, we can say it's just a really sharp blade. I understand it's a scalpel. But realistically, you need a swing to really get through there, and it was just a simple slice. And, you know, even that, this is probably the best animation we've seen in this whole show. As for this, I'm not really sure exactly why they went through the effort that they did for this joke punch to be so spectacular. I get it. He punched him hard enough to make all of his clothes fall off, so I mean, at least there's that. But at the same time, I wanted to see more of that with the girls, because I feel like the girls are a main draw of the series. But most of what we got with the girls fighting was like 7 scenes where they were moving in, 7 frames where they were moving in and then they were on the other side of the feet and there were lines, and that was it. That was their attack. And, you know, slow motion rock golem falling on a building almost crushed a kid. And, you know, the guy had enough humanity in him not to crush the kid because apparently the only reason he was an adventurer in the first place was to save his kid's sister. Okay. Like, that could have been flushed out. I don't think that was flushed out at all in the show. I had no idea his reasoning for being an adventurer was noble. I thought it was just him being a jerk. But if we had time to build that up, the show could have been... This scene could have been emotional. Instead, it was just vindictive. You know, I felt good about this guy getting punched in the face. You know, he has not had any humanity brought to him at all until this episode. But that's just my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts? Go ahead and leave them down in the comments. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you like this content. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Until next time, have a blessed day.
And while you're here, go ahead and check out this video to see what you might have missed.